Hello everyone, welcome to BTV. It's a game a lot of people have been looking forward to today. Beeston hosting Surbiton in the Men's Premier Division. That's the one for you today on BTV. Let's set the scene for you. There's already been a couple of games this weekend. 2 games played yesterday. You can see the outcome of those. East Grinstead 2, Wimbledon 4. And University Exeter 2, Holcombe 7. So we've already seen plenty of goals this weekend. And there's the fixture we're looking at, Beeston versus Surbiton. What have those 2 results yesterday done to the table? And you can see Wimbledon lead the way with 21 points, 7 wins from their 8 games. Today's visitor Surbiton, should they win, would leapfrog Wimbledon and go back to top spot. Beeston are in 8th place with 5 points, looking for their 2nd win of the season and a first win at home against Surbiton since October 2013. I'm Andy Day. Sitting beside me is Muss. How you doing?
Good afternoon, Andy. Yes, I'm fine, thank you very much.
What have we got in store today? Because traditionally, let's again set the scene, it's not gone well against Surbiton at home for Beeston in the last couple of years.
I think that's right. I mean, Surbiton have set the trend and the levels in the last 2, 3, 4 seasons now, and continue to do that. 6 games, 6 wins. Makes it look easy. It's not easy. They work very hard to be as good as they are. Their setup, teams, unit setup and individual players are excellent, and they gel very well. And even though they've had changes prior to the start of this season, and even today they've got 1 or 2 players out, they are an extremely strong setup.
Indeed, their teams are being led out. Let's introduce you to the match officials as well. So your team in green, and of course your delegate as well. Your umpires are Mark Jarvis and Gareth Perry, and today's match official is Bev Deakin. While we're doing introductions, the teams are being introduced to each other. Let's have a look at the 16s, shall we? Starting firstly with Beeston. A little bit of a settled side, and I think that's a good thing for Beeston.
I think that's right. The only change that they've had today, for personal reasons, Suki Panasar has had to pull out and has been replaced by Jake Reed, who's been itching to get back into the first team. So it's a good opportunity for him to show his worth. Sam Apula on form. Hopefully he'll be able to get on the score sheet again today. And I think very gradually, despite the disappointments that they've had, and particularly last week against Durham, Beeston feel that this squad is actually beginning to gel a little bit, so a bit of hope on the horizon, really.
Indeed, it was a difficult start to the season, but you know you can only gain confidence from more time together as a team.
You can.
And there's your Beeston matchday squad, all in their final preparations. Simon Hujwan, the goalkeeper, all in blue. Let's turn our attention now to Surbiton as the camera moves over to them. A couple of omissions in the matchday squad. Yeah,
Tom Salisbury. Not quite sure why Tom's not with them today. He would have been back here playing against his former club. Arjun Drayton Chana is not in there either. And of course they've had the change of goalkeeper to Oriogun Lana, who's in there for Harry Gibson.
It's fair to say we're both fans of his work. So we've seen him at younger levels, and he's excelled. So it's not going to be it's not something to celebrate. Certainly, it's a great quality goalkeeper. Beeston all in black, Surbiton in the mostly white, and it will be Beeston to get us off and underway. This is BTV, Premier Division Hockey, and eyes down. History tells us there's going to be goals.
I think that's right. I think it's a bit of an inevitability. The game is geared towards goals. There's a lot of individuals with potential to score short corners on both sides. Surbiton particularly can score corners and open play stuff, but Beeston beginning to get into those habits as well with Henry Croft and Sam Apula starting to find their feet a little bit as they...
Indeed. Also Kai Aichinger as well.
On his corners, yeah, that's right.
Just mentioning corners as well, Luke Taylor from Surbiton. He's the leading scorer in the division with 13 this season, and that's come from 9 penalty corners and 4 penalty strokes. So he's the danger threat.
Quite a
very
record,
much.
Yeah. Just watching him warm up a minute ago, Andy, his penalty corner flicks are very powerful and accurate. So first lesson for Beeston really is to not give any corners away.
And that's what you want as a penalty corner dispatcher.
Yes.
Power and accuracy. One without the other, you might get lucky. Both, you've got a good chance of beating the goalkeeper.
Well, I think the top 4 clubs at the moment in the league, they've all got a standout penalty corner taker in their ranks. It's necessary.
That's the first ball forward, by the way, and Surbiton looking to find possession, and they have it high up the field of play.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's. I think first sign of an aerial there, thrown with purpose into a corner. Beeston defender needed to deal with it a little bit better, I think, but
they've left a bit of an outlet there, and it's been picked up.
Richard Alexander, tough on the ball there, and good skills from Henry Croft.
He's done well, but he's been, I think, winning a second prize there with a whistle going in favour of him.
Yes.
Yes, that he did look around thinking to move quickly, but no. Steady, steady, steady. Make sure the basics are right.
Well, they're going to need to get that right all day today, because if you're going to compete against a side like Surbiton, you've got to match them player for player, and you've got to make sure your basics are strong. And I think that's been something that Gareth Andrew, as a coach, has been concerned about, the standard of basics. He's worked hard on that.
Nick Park doing very well to intercept. Watched in defence, and immediately closed down by two visiting players in white.
Nicely won there by Kai Achinger, and that's picked off by the Surbiton midfield player.
That's David Goodfield, number 19.
Nick Park, of course, another former Beeston player.
One touch high for everyone's liking,
Yeah.
so we'll come back for that one. You're saying that there's a couple of former Bees in the
Yeah,
side.
well, Tom Salisbury would have been one of them, but Nick Park was here at Beeston last year, and sad to see him go, but he's a quality player and settled well into the Surbiton side.
Yeah, he moved in the summer. Conditions, by the way, are pretty good when you're watching this, and let's break off, and it is Johnny Gould bringing the ball into the circle, nudged away. Umpire pointing towards the goal, though. Surbiton free hit.
Yeah, the worst place to turn over the ball, right in the middle of the pitch when everybody's committed to going forwards, and the ball's with Surbiton in a dangerous place.
Let's break off. There's a chance here for a potential shout for a PC,
Yeah.
but that's been overridden, and Beeston can push the ball over halfway, and that's one to chase. And
Is that catchable? I think it might be.
Henry Croft really putting everything into this one. Has he kept it in play? It is still live. And Samapula's doing everything to try and win the ball really close to goal. Also now Gareth Griffiths sniffing around as well. Decent start for Surbiton, but Beeston have shown that there's a little bite in their team as well.
Yes, I think Henry Croft caught that with probably about a millimetre before the line, so he did well to get a cross in.
And not only that, it relieved the pressure as well,
Yes.
because if it did roll over the line, it'll be Surbiton ball again.
Well, we talk a lot about forwards making sure that they, hold the ball up or create time for the lines behind to close up to keep the whole unit tight, and forwards have a big role to play in that.
Time for Robbie Gleeson to look around and assess the options, decides to go back, maintained possession. Achinger is number 5, he was the pivot man for the ball. Ball popped into the circle, but no one's there. Tom Fox,
Bit of pressure,
according to.
a bit of pressure needed on the Surbiton defender.
Now, I'm not sure at all about this numbering, because I'm sure I saw a 14 for Surbiton, and 14 is Tom Fox, and I'm sure Tom Fox isn't playing today.
No, he's not. So
Something is amiss. We
Yes.
need to identify the player with 14, so if we get that across to the bench, we need to know what's going on.
I've watched a couple of Surbiton games this season, and there's a very busy, competitive middle of the park game going on, and the sides playing against them, watched EG a few weeks ago, look quite competent at times, but it's then their counter-attack and finishing prowess that serves them so very well. And so at the moment, Beeston looking fine, soaking up quite a lot of stuff, possession with Surbiton. They just need to make sure that they can keep Surbiton at bay certainly for the first quarter.
I was running the numbers, and Beeston have taken the lead more often than Surbiton.
Strange, isn't it? Yeah, that's right.
But Surbiton are I think they've got the better of the 35 meetings by I think 10.
Yes.
So that tells us historically the Bees like to get on the front foot but can't see the games.
Yeah, that's right, and that's the whole thing about the game of hockey, isn't it? If you score that opening goal, that's great stuff, but you've still got a lot of work to do to get anywhere near a win in a Premier League game.
Things have opened up for Beeston on halfway.
Robbie Gleeson at his best pace.
Puts the ball into the circle, chance, it's popped up. And that's Henry Croft who puts that one into space. Long corner is the call.
Very good goalkeeping. We talked about him, didn't we? And
yes,
how sharp he was onto that. Didn't give Henry Croft a minute to get his shot away.
That's turned into the circle. That was very quickly done. And I think it's Joe Waterston who was closest to it.
Yeah, lovely pass and deflection into the D, difficult to read for defences, and nearly ended up with a Beeston player.
Richard Alexander, I don't know where he gets the energy from. He's like a dynamo.
He is.
Hunt playing the ball to the edge of the circles. That got held up.
Yeah, that's just gone between Joe Waterston's feet, but equally he was, I think it might have hit a foot.
Hunt spreading the ball. Nice spell for Beeston, trying to dominate at least a period of the game. It's a miscontrol, and that's
you could see that slightly unravelling. The transfer was good, the interplay was good. One player slightly out of reach of the ball, and the next guy lost it. So just keeping those basics really high. Gareth Andrews' intention really is to try to compete man for man all the way through the game today.
And Henry Croft again looking for that opportunity to strip the ball away. Doesn't come off, but you have to keep trying.
You do. I don't think there's necessarily a problem with Beeston's fitness. They just need to stay focused and keep working hard for the whole 70 minutes. It's
Middleton, 36, using the full area of the field. That's been turned towards goal, and it's gone in. No. Now, I did see the ball cross the line. Surbiton players are celebrating, but I've not seen signal of a goal.
No. Didn't quite see what had occurred there to make him change his mind. It did roll over the line, there's no doubt about it, but
we'll watch that closely.
It's very difficult to see what was the issue.
We'll file that one under mystery.
Yes, yeah.
And so, just to clarify, the score on the screen is correct. The play has been restarted with Beeston ball, so it is goalless. Although we have seen the ball enter the goal.
Yes. Maybe it's an offence on the keeper, but we'll find out, I'm sure. Little moments like that matter in games of this sort, and some good energetic work from the Beeston forwards there, nearly getting on the end of things, forcing Surbiton to play quickly, which of course they're comfortable doing. Not over pressing from the Beeston forwards, so they're staying a little bit deeper because they don't want to be completely eliminated. Slightly higher than what you call a half-court press. And the ball's been allowed to run through.
Nice give and go around the edge of the circle. However, whistle goes in favour of Beeston. Nearly 9 minutes gone on BTV. Beeston versus Surbiton Men's Premier Division Hockey. And it's gone very quick.
Very nicely played.
Player in the centre is Brendan Andrews, hovering with intent. Long corner.
Yes, looking very competitive from Beeston's point of view at the moment, and as I keep saying, they're going to have to maintain it for a long period of time, but it's been a decent quarter, this, and plenty of possession. A few attacks. Nearly a goal as well in front of the keeper.
Yeah.
And that's
nice again, turn towards goal.
Good defence. Shows the benefit of being ready in defence for anything. Very quickly onto that. Trapped well.
Nice to see a shot of the crowd as well. Support from the crowd is always appreciated.
Yeah, quite a good turnout today.
What you don't see on the screen is the people behind the camera as well, who are up on the balcony. There's a
There's
nice
a lot
diagonal
of
ball into the circle, presentable opportunity here. That's a great effort in defence from Kai Ekinger.
Well, the two Surbiton forwards there were completely unmarked. Lots of space for them, so I'm not quite sure who's calling that one. Nicely picked up again.
Well watched under pressure. It's going to come back though. Jamie Taylor goes towards the baseline. And that's being carried over very close. Again, the umpire watching it. Just having a bit of a chat. Ekinger.
Just watching Ben Collinson there, caught in possession of the ball. Can't afford
Swept
to do that.
into the circle and knocked behind. Surbiton building towards something here. Tends to be a spell of pressure, is rewarded with a goal. So
we do find that, don't we? You can sort of sense the the turning of the tide almost. There's the number of long corner restarts that Surbiton have forced. And of course Beeston trying their very, very best not to give away short corners.
Here's Luke Taylor, who's the league's leading scorer with number 3 on his back. Pressure coming from Beeston. Luke Taylor's the obvious route out, and here it is. But that's not
slight misunderstanding.
That's not as it was trained. Here's the captain, Gareth Griffiths, going down the left-hand side, playing the ball into the circle, coming off the body of a Surbiton player. And the Bees get the whistle, so they can afford to bring a few more players in. Alexander looks towards the baseline, where Griffiths receives, and has that come off a foot? Yes, it has. It's another one. Sharp around that area of the field.
Being prepared to get stuck in, obviously trying to feed the ball into the D. It's not quite got there yet because of the good defence by Surbiton, but nice to see a little error from the Surbiton defenders that's led to this pressure. And still with Beeston.
Huge appeal.
I'm not very happy with the distance that the defender retreated. Surbiton coming away with it now.
And that's another steal back. Gleeson. Oh, so close to going through to Brendan Andrews, who was 16.
I sort of thought that was slightly the wrong choice. I think could have been better kept on the right hand side, but probably chose to feed it to the top of the D.
I think there's advantage being played, and that's being turned in for the opening goal, and straight from one end of the field to the other.
Absolutely. I mean, how many seconds was that? Like, we're looking at probably 7 or 8 seconds from a turnover, a situation which was nearly good for Beeston. And the pace of the counter-attack, absolutely rapid. 3-4 passes.
Who's closest to that? Can't get an ID on the goal scorer. I was keeping an eye on Ben Park, who was lingering.
He didn't oblige us by showing us the back of his shirt, did he? So
we'll get that as soon as we can, but one thing that isn't in dispute is Beeston 0, Surbiton 1. 13th minute goal separates the sides, and the Bees have been stung.
Well, as we were saying, that a lot of pressure from Beeston. They're doing quite well in that little phase of play, but the turnover very costly, and the finishing prowess, as we said at the start of the game, of Surbiton. They get half a chance and it goes in the net.
All action, Richard Alexander battling away in the corner.
I feel in a way that's a bit of a shame, really. There's too much space for a Surbiton attacker to get his reverse stick shot into the bottom corner of the net there. The two defenders on him were not close enough, and I couldn't quite see how Simon Hujran was shaped up, but the result was a goal. That's a great tackle from Richard Alexander in the middle of the park.
Aerial.
Where's that going? Too far. Use of the aerial, we've talked about that. It's should be a purposeful pass most of the time. It's if it's just thrown into space, sometimes it often doesn't result in much. Great pass in there for Surbiton, well watched. Jacob Reed on that quickly saw the danger.
Samapula unusually quite far back, but having to do a shift.
Yes,
all hands on deck.
Another aerial, has that found its way to space?
Who got a touch on that? There's a big appeal from Will Prentice saying I think it took a touch.
I think the umpire's seen that as the defender closing down the forwards. No, it's a long corner he's given, so still a good position for Beeston.
Towards the right hand side of the circle.
With anybody.
Reaching for the ball, but just a bit beyond.
Yeah, you can see how difficult it is for the Beeston midfield players to reach the forwards in these tight areas because of the structure, the strong structure that Surbiton have in defence. And their back four collapsing sometimes to a 5, and it's very difficult to get through big numbers in the D.
Oh,
interesting.
What happened there?
That's the Beeston mole who stuck his head up, I think.
David Goodfield and all of us perplexed by that, because that looked like it was a pass along the field. That's and it skipped up over his stick.
It did. Gremlins.
See that? We're almost at ground level. We can't see any lump or anything like that. No, that's won't dwell. Let's see what Beeston can do with this spell in possession of the ball.
Yeah, well, little tricky skills there from James Hunt trying to get through the midfield players. It nearly didn't work for him. He's got away with that, I think, with it being a sideline hit. Robbie Gleeson in the middle of the park. I mean, that is a dodgy area to be trying to lift the ball over two Surbiton midfielders' sticks.
That's nice in towards the circle. Good idea. 2 players further forward for Beeston, moving the ball quickly. They're having a lot of joy with that, but you can't keep doing it.
No, you can't. And it could have done with being on the ground. It bounced a little bit too high for the forwards to trap it, so back it comes again. Decent cover work rate's high. Samapula again, he's got the bit between his teeth today. He's trying to get stuck in all over the park.
Good field, laying the ball towards the edge of the circle. Look to retrieve the ball for possession. Beeston have it.
Just that's again given straight back to a Surbiton player.
More turnovers than a church fete.
It just gives too much energy to a side that's already got lots anyway, and if you keep giving the ball back and they don't have to work hard to win it, then it gets easy for them to set attacks. There is a lot of space in and around the 25 for Surbiton players.
Confirmation received that it was Ben Boone that scored the opener. We're looking out for a number. Couldn't see it, but it's come across as being confirmed. Ben Boone is the goal scorer.
He wasn't far out from the goal, and he was given a lot of time to get his reverse stick shot off. There again, it's just fallen to Surbiton. Beeston just got a little bit sloppy in their outletting, particularly through the middle of the field, and it's fallen straight
into the circle. Chance, and it's being turned in for the second. And sometimes it can look as easy as that, and I think that's Jamie Golden who's converted from close range, number 10.
Well, again, you have to look back at the trigger point of that. The ball was with potentially with Beeston, and they gave it away 2 or 3 times in actual fact, but that's a good finish, because the person that you'd think you'd be slipped to was right in front of the keeper, and it went to the player behind.
And how about that? That is the final act of the first quarter. Beeston 0, Surbiton 2. And first goal coming from Ben Boone, and as we just saw, Jamie Golden, the Scotland player, has made it 2. So, for all the good things that Beeston have done, they find themselves 2 goals down. What do you do, Musson?
Well, I think the problem that they've got is that they're not going to outplay Surbiton in the midfield. They're too strong. They're better players in actual fact at the moment in that zone, and they function very well together. Beeston have better opportunities to get the ball forward down the flanks, particularly on the right-hand side. They've done well, and I think that they probably one of the coaching points now would be that they'd probably want to see it played wide and not through the middle of the park.
So that's the position. There's 17 and a half minutes to go in this first half. What does Surbiton keep doing what they're doing? Because their game plan seems to be effective. Well,
at the moment, they had to work very hard in the first quarter to actually contain Beeston's enthusiasm at the start, which they did very easily. They're now finding that they're getting possession back off Beeston from Beeston turnovers, and that starts to make life easy. That triggers a counter-attack plays from Surbiton, as we've seen, from the halfway line, and they're very difficult to defend, particularly if your own team is all out of shape, as they were. So they need a bit more precision and a little bit more on the basics in this next quarter.
I know we've got a little bit of time. I wonder if we can recall that replay for the goal, because the running from Jamie Golden is worth watching.
It is.
The way that he moved to the left-hand side. So what you're looking at is player number 10. He's in the centre of your screen now, and he goes, looks to shake to the right, goes to the left, and that makes the space for him to turn the ball into the goal, and rightfully celebrating that nice run. And if you're watching that at home when you're a junior, that's the sort of running that you need to do.
He's drifted perfectly out of a central position and into one at the high left post, and that's allowed him to finish. So a bit to do, I think, Andy.
Indeed. I think the next goal is important.
Yeah.
Very important, because if it's a Surbiton goal, we might as well go home. But if it's a Beeston goal,
there's always a way.
If it's a Beeston goal, we might have game on.
Well, I think, as I say, one of the things they'll be keen to cut out is is trying to be overly competitive in the midfield, because Beeston are losing that battle against Surbiton. So let's just see if they've tactically changed things a bit. An interesting fixture for Beeston, really, in a way, because obviously with Surbiton being top of the league, I wouldn't say running away with it, but close to doing that. It's going to be a very difficult game for Beeston to win, but the games coming up, this is a great preparation for Beeston's next 2-3 fixtures.
Indeed, the season break is at the end of the month.
It is.
And that only gives us a couple more weekends to get those all-important points on the board. The league will split.
Yes.
The top 5 will play each other, and the bottom 6 will play each other. And of course, if you're in the top 5, you're completely safe from relegation.
Well, I think that there's a lot of controversy about this split and how helpful it is, but obviously anybody getting into that, the top 6 actually, anybody getting into that will be happy to be there. But whether Beeston can make it, I think they're going to need to win their next 3 games.
We'll get the slide rule out at half-time and work out the likelihood of that, the other games.
Yes.
We'll talk about that in the second half.
Yes, yeah.
That's very close to being intercepted, but Griffiths shields the ball.
Yeah, he's going to have to do that in the middle, and he's actually managed to look after possession there. Again, it's into the middle part of the pitch, but strong enough on the right-hand side for Robbie. But again, it's these little misconnections that they become costly because as they sort of unravel, and there's many of them, it allows Surbiton, as you'll see here, to quite easily rebuild, and there's nothing that's at risk for them at the minute. It's really restricting Beeston to counter-attack play as a way of getting back into the game, which is not ideal, but it does show the difference in the 2 teams.
Well in from Joe Waterson, knocking the ball out of play. Here's Sam Spencer, who's 24 for Surbiton. Ben Park playing the ball in. And Griffiths has done well to ride a couple of challenges. And
knocked that forward, and unlucky.
No, just as his head dropped down, you knew that it was just beyond him.
Yeah, and again, it's got the ball into that part of the pitch, but it's not particularly in any kind of a structured way. And of course, not being able to get on the end of it, and back it goes to Surbiton, although their aerials turned it over. So it does show how an aerial can be actually not that helpful sometimes.
Nice pass out to the left-hand side where Richard Alexander finds himself. He's held up, and the ball coming off that was a Surbiton foot will be just restarted.
Oh.
Here's an opportunity into the circle, play towards goal.
Oh my
and
goodness.
That's some way wide, but look at the appeal, huge appeal from Henry Croft. Now, is he saying that there's been something was on that, not a stick?
Well, he took the ball really well there to create the shot, but again, the keeper's movement so quick to close down Henry's reverse stick shot. But that was the sort of moment we were after, really, because that was a scoring chance, no doubt about it.
And it didn't come from a huge spell of possession. It was the turnover and counter-attack that we were talking about, and you were talking about in particular a couple of moments ago.
Yeah.
So I wonder what possibly went on there, because that was some way wide of the goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, the keeper closed it down, and it hit. It looked to me like it had come off his pads, but. Yeah, Beeston's still very competitive. The bit that's needed is longer in possession, stringing more passes together, holding the ball up front a little bit more, I think. Need to restrict Surbiton's possession, because this is how they're building. Whilst all this transfer of the ball is going on, their forwards are looking for space, like here.
Nice touch from Tim Nurse, number 8. Reaching into the circle, turn towards goal. Hudge is down, and that's the first penalty corner of the game, coming in the second quarter.
Strong work on the right-hand side, getting into that dangerous part of the D where it's hard for defenders to make their tackles. Still in possession when the tackle should have been made, and across the open goal. Surprised Simon Hujwan didn't get a stick on that, actually. It was close enough to him. So we're going to have to be faced with the defence of a Luke Taylor.
There we go, number 3 on the back of his shirt.
Yeah.
It's so prolific, it's almost not worth disguising it.
Well, I think everybody knows where this first injection will go, and
Beeston still trying to get all their preparation. So we might see the clock stopped. I think we have seen the clock stopped.
They're probably putting extra protection on, I think, Andy, under the circumstances.
A couple of seasons ago, we watched Beeston Surbiton, and Luke Taylor scored 5 penalty corners, and every one of them was more or less on the same square of rigging.
It was, yes, that's right.
So I wonder if at home you can pick a square of rigging he's going to aim for.
A bit like Spot the Ball used to be, across on the on the screen. My suspicion is it'll go. This first one will probably go to Simon Hudgwan's left-hand side, aiming at the left post man.
Oh, we could be completely wrong. We could be completely wrong. Is the mystery 14 player. There's a little shuffle. It is Luke Taylor, and that's been flicked up and away. Time is off.
Well, it went where we thought it would, and that looked like it came off the bar.
I think it was a low, and that's a repeat penalty corner. So what happened here? I think it took maybe a foot. And
yeah,
that's
I think
what
it did.
Possibly popped it up. Let's focus on the line.
Yes, I think it's. I think it might have been off the leg of the number 1 runner.
Interesting.
But anyway, we're going to have to go through it again and see whether he sticks to form and goes to the same place, Andy.
We'll possibly see that same little shuffle. It's interesting how all the Beeston players were prepared a moment ago, and as soon as the penalty corner was over, let's take everything off. Yeah. So just that moment again of getting the preparation
right.
again.
Could almost do with 2 keepers at these kind of corners.
There is the little shuffle. That's been padded away,
well
and
saved.
Then really well watched. Simon Hudgman waited for it.
Bit central. The flick was a bit central, so that was a bit better for Simon Hudgman. But nevertheless, he saw it clearly.
And that'll do his confidence the world of good as well. Still live in the circle. Hudgman goes down, open goal towards the left-hand side.
That should have been blown. That's gone over the attacker's stick. Well defended there by Samapula, doing his defensive work again.
As a team, that was really good, and Samapula doing well to take the ball over halfway and see off those 2 penalty corners from Surbiton. Now, not many teams have faced 2 penalty corners from Surbiton this season and not conceded.
No.
Small victories.
Absolutely. Nice to see forwards who defend as well. So many of them actually forget about the defensive arts. Samapula's been working hard today.
Well, just thinking back again to there was a double element to that save on the second penalty corner. First of all was the stop, but also the alertness to get the ball as far away from the goal as quickly as possible.
In the right direction as well. It was controlled. Yes, that's right.
That's Pate out of the air by Robbie Gleeson, number 6. And the whistle goes in his favour.
It's quite good in possession, Robbie Gleeson. Once he's on the ball and he's got that control, the stick tight to the ball, he's difficult to dispossess. That's interesting. Yeah, well stopped.
There's Joe Paul playing the ball inside. Alexander is stripped of the ball. And this is Sam Spencer.
This is where it comes back at you with so much interest. Good work from, yes, very, very good defensive work there from Joe Paul, I think that was.
And I like the umpires very confident. No, that wasn't. No, you're not getting that.
Yes. But this is the danger, isn't it? We saw once again, how quick Surbiton were through the middle, and again they've stolen it.
Turnover high up the field.
And look where it goes, straight
onto the shooting angle. Fired in. Again, Hudgman has to go to ground, but the ball was further away than he anticipated.
Well, I think the Surbiton attacker there, he realised he was too wide to actually shoot, so he put it somewhere dangerous and it went across the goal mouth, which anything could have happened then. A lot of the time people do try to shoot from tight angles and of course it comes to nothing.
Good field, making a real nuisance of himself, but having the ball taken off him. Gareth Griffiths takes the ball over halfway. Bringing it forward is Eddie Harper.
Yeah, so important when they're attacking like that they work together and connect. I mean, it's just been very, very easy in the end for Surbiton to take that off them. When that happens at the other end, it's finding its way into the D and onto the end of a Surbiton player's stick. Lessons to be learned from the Beeston midfield and forwards.
There are things to be picked up in every game. And sometimes they're good things that you can do again, sometimes they're not so good things that you can try and ease out your game.
I think that's absolutely right. We watched the Malaysia game, didn't we, a few weeks back?
Let's break off though. Surbiton in the circle again. Hujwani's down. That's sharp defensive work on the goal line.
Good clearance. Good save, good clearance.
With a long blow on the whistle, and it's a Beeston ball. Long blow on the whistle tends to indicate that a card's coming out, but no card has been shown as far as I can tell here.
No, back in play, midfield ball, and it's gone off the side. No, I was just thinking, but the Malaysia game a few weeks ago, Andy, was a real boost for Beeston for the next 2 games afterwards. So, in many ways, this could be a similar sort of a situation.
Indeed, I'm not going to big it up as the biggest TV event ever, but we will have a look at those fixtures and the possibilities in the second half.
Yeah,
that popping up off Jamie Taylor.
Of course, Surbiton have a European ranking now as well, don't they? They're ranked 7th, which is no mean feat when you're in amongst Dutch, German, and Belgian teams.
Trying to go around a long way, Jamie Taylor again.
Lots of defensive work having to be done.
Just holding off, choosing the right moment to attack.
Nice little bit of interplay there in a very tight area, looking for an opportunity. And there's the big outlet, which probably puts the it's just outside the
circle.
Yeah.
Turned in quickly, but Richard Alexander all action. Seeing it, not getting it far away.
Joe Waterston not ready for the ball, because nearly hit his foot, stood in his own D, and a big clearance just to take that bit of pressure away.
Indeed, there's not a lot more he could have done there, because you did see the sweep of the field. Where are my options?
Yeah,
I don't have any. And it's not as if he's going to slalom his way through the entire Surbiton team. So just
no, that's right. And you know, so far in this quarter, it's stayed at 2-0. That's a plus in a way. A couple of chances for Beeston, a lot of possession for Surbiton, and they've not had to work quite so hard on repossessing, because I think they've picked a lot up off Beeston. Here we go again. This is dangerous.
Oh, that's wide of the uprights.
Far too much space in the D for the Surbiton forward. They seem to be able to create this space. Finding space in the D for forwards is extremely difficult to do. Surbiton do it with ease, and it's all to do with their changing positions, the leads that they make. It's very deceptive for defenders to stay with them.
By the way, I think we've only seen the ball in the air once or twice this game.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of attempts at purposeful aerials and one huge one that went off the side, but here we go again. So it's back with Surbiton. As you were saying, Andy, I think if by any chance Beeston could nick a corner or a goal and just get this scoreline a bit closer, it might be interesting. But they're going to need a bit more possession, I think.
You can see the clock ticking towards the half-hour mark. Goals from Ben Boone and Jamie Golden, the difference. We will have, as is the way in the league, 35 minutes per half. So I know a lot of you have been watching international hockey recently. That'll be 30 minutes a half. So we're getting some bonus 5 minutes every half in the England League.
Surbiton pushing their whole unit up. Their 3 forwards are deep in the D at the moment. There's sort of 4 or 5 Surbiton players in the D, all needing to be effectively marked, because it's difficult to try and zone them out of space. But that one, again,
Alexander being a nuisance.
Yes.
Sometimes that's what you need.
Former Surbiton player himself. So again, the midfield 3 are fine in there, and then Surbiton push up their half-backs, create a lot of players high up the pitch. And there's
nice
a good
turn.
breakaway. What's happened there? That's with Beeston.
Whistle going, but you can see Surbiton really bringing people back quickly. Jamie Taylor watching that and pulling the ball out of the air. Now Alexander taking it further forward. Good tempo, but Surbiton really snapping into that one And Beeston have got quite a few players back. And really, again, Robbie Gleeson just trying to break things down. He's done well, though.
He has. I mean, his run into the D could have been a little bit more clinical, I think. He was quite easily tackled, and again, that's...
I think he's doing well there.
Yes, he did. He could breathe a sigh of relief, but Surbiton again, very good. And for the first time, they haven't actually made that link pass.
So two important things for us to check off at half-time is who is playing 14 for Surbiton, because there is definitely a 14.
Well, they've got a shirt with the name Royce on the back, which... quick restart from Surbiton there, but in the right place. Good made to start again. Three players at the back because there isn't any press from Beeston, so they can push players forwards quite comfortably. And he's getting individual skills, getting through 2 or 3 players, and ball still with Surbiton. A lot of space on the opposite side.
Luke Taylor.
Oh, that's the second time that's happened, so is there any chance they're becoming a little bit unnerved by something? I don't think so at the moment. But again, that's a bit too far off the stick. Receiving player just lets it drift forward 2-3 feet and presents opportunities for Surbiton.
That's twice in that corner, that bouncing ball, is it?
That's right, yeah. Crowd's built again. A few more people wandered over to the far side. Yeah, nice little bit build up down the right.
A few minutes ago, you're watching BTV, Beeston now, Surbiton 2.
Well, anything now before the half-time break would be absolutely excellent from Beeston's point of view.
That's not going to help the cause, though. Clay Aiking a little bit sold short with the pass.
Yes, yeah. We'll see 1 or 2 bobbles on the pitch. Look at the space there, and that really dangerous place. This is that's well covered.
Incredibly well watched as well. And that's fallen very kindly indeed.
Need to run this. There's time for something if...
Henry Croft goes on another run. I think he may have fouled his man in touch, but play is allowed to continue. He's done as much as he could. Possession is turned over via the side for Surbiton.
Yeah, good one-on-one play there, and the defender came out best. Henry wasn't able to outpace him on the outside. And this is what you're up against. There's a quality in the Surbiton defence that's difficult to beat.
Who's first to that? It was the Beeston man, James Hunt, who was first to it. There's been plenty of desire.
Yeah, definitely. That's not a problem, I think. But this possession of the ball
turned towards goal. 2 Beeston defenders ganging up and making sure he didn't reach Simon Hush's run. Sideline ball.
It's clear
30 seconds.
Clearly it's a long way away with the 30 seconds left. So, well, at least that the positives in that second quarter. For
in fact,
Beeston.
not even 30 seconds left. That is your lot for the first half. BTV. It's Beeston 0, Surbiton 2, with 10 minutes of half-time to come.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you say to the two teams as we look at the caption there, Beeston 0? So it's Ben Boone, Jamie Golden, the goal scorers for Surbiton.
Well, I think the positives from Beeston's point of view is that they've gone through the quarter having to do a lot of defending, but they've done that quite well, and also defending the 2 short corners has been a plus. They'll be pleased with that. I think from a possessional point of view, they're still getting caught a bit too often on the ball, running into flat sticks and giving the possession back to Surbiton. Surbiton have been in the Beeston D many times, and it's strange that they haven't been able to get their shots off, and so there's a bit of a sign there that maybe Beeston can get on top a little bit if they can just get their basics better. But I do like watching the way that Surbiton build up, 3 players at the back, moving the ball down the flanks quickly, and their pace of counter-attack is very quick indeed.
Well, on that note, we shall pause for half-time. This is BTV. Your half-time score is Beeston 0, Surbiton 2. Welcome back to BTV. Beeston find themselves 2 goals down against Surbiton as they look to start the second half brightly. They ended the second half with a couple of decent opportunities, and we've got one thing to clear up before we get underway. We were talking about the mystery man, who was number 14. Well, we've been able to identify that it is Gareth Furlong, and of course he scored 2 goals in the win over Italy for Wales the other week, which saw Wales through to the World Cup. So that's number 14 is Gareth Furlong, so that's the important thing cleaned up.
Apparently lost his shirt between the changing room and the
I was
pitch
going to mention
side.
that. I was going to mention that.
Players, that's players for you.
You can say whatever you like. I'm not critical. You know. Losing things is one of my habits. Anyway, Surbiton in the white, starting the second half, looking to progress down the left-hand side. It's quite open start to the second half, and Beeston battling.
Still with the Surbiton player. And a corner straight away. That's... Oh dear, that's not the ideal start by any stretch.
No, and it was quite a cheap corner to give away.
Yeah,
in the
it
grand
was,
scheme of things.
Well, the 2 or 3 attempts to defend on this left-hand side just seem to be just run roughshod by the Surbiton attacker, and that's just not strong enough. And then for it to just find a foot like that, I was just about to say, with only being 2, you never know. If you get back to 2-1, anything can happen. But this is just not what you want. We're not even a minute into the second half.
However, what number do you not see around the edge of the circle? I don't see a number 3. So we've got
I still think
Gareth Furlong, who did score 2 penalty corners. So it's not as if that Surbiton are without threat.
No, certainly. I think they've got 2 or 3 quality penalty corner takers. So maybe it's delay here. Everybody finds the kit again. It is a bit of a faff, this kit stuff, isn't it? But you need it, obviously. It's just I think everybody's trying to get the most protective piece of equipment out of the bag first.
Obviously, given the conditions the way that they are, at least they're not having to jet wash everything down with sanitizer between penalty corners.
That's right.
So my suspicion, it is mystery man number 14, Gareth Furlong, likeliest to field this.
Need to defend this. 2 castles. Could go to either, but it's the first castle.
It is Furlong, and he's hit the crossbar.
The crossbar, yeah.
Directly. Didn't take a touch. And Simon Hujwan's stick was nearby, but it was a direct strike onto the crossbar. Those don't happen very often.
And it was travelling as well, so I think if it had been anything a couple of inches lower, that would have just been straight in the roof of the net. So thankfully, Beeston got away with that.
That also makes me sound like I know what I'm talking about. Identifying the...
You know plenty, Andy.
You know, I only came in here by accident. Surbiton still looking for that 3rd goal, although it breaks down for them in attack. Beeston have done well to get the ball just a few metres further forward, but that's
how committed they are to winning the ball back.
Also, Robbie Gleeson waving his stick like a wand around the feet of the attacker, which possibly isn't so sensible of options.
Bit of additional aggression and energy here from Surbiton. Great transfer work, and it's gone to a dangerous part of the D, but thankfully that way it's gone for a long.
Yeah, so that must have got the slightest of touches as well.
Yeah. Readiness, very important now from the Beeston defence. Nothing sloppy. They need to be, if they're man marking, they need to do it well.
Into the circle, deflected, and that's down in front of goal. Hujwan looks to save. It's chaos in front of the goalkeeper. It's hit him again. It's underneath him.
It's going to...
And whistle has finally gone his way. I think he was doing absolutely everything he could to make the ball presentable to everybody who needed it. That's one of the struggles. You can't just, in the football style, smother the ball.
No.
You have to make a save, and that's it. That's your involvement done.
Beeston having great difficulty getting away. This is the first time they've done it this half, so they need to make sure that there's something comes of this.
Eddie Harper's done well to get the ball into the circle. Alexander fires the ball towards the goal. It's been turned towards goal, and Oregon Lana's first involvement in the second half is an important one.
Yeah, Samapula in front of him there. Loves those little tip-ins, and he's got the ball again. That's good pressure.
Now, don't waste the opportunity. Don't go crazy and play it too fast. It has gone into the circle. It's bounced a couple of times. Who's first to it? That's been picked up by Jacob Reed on the left-hand side. But he is robbed of the ball.
Yeah. Good precision defence again. Not particularly flustered, Surbiton's defenders. Extremely difficult to get around them. They're all of them quite tall, long reaches, good basic skills. You need to take your chances against them, otherwise you can see in many games they play it just runs away in the end. Gareth Griffiths there, just getting nice and low. To the mid, ball played into the midfield nice and quickly out. That's what you need to do so you don't get caught.
That's worked quite nicely through the legs of Rob Farrington. Beeston get the whistle. There's support coming back in the Surbiton defence. Two lines in the attacking from Beeston, one further forward than the other. Into the circle here.
It is nearly, but again, Surbiton set very well. Just the ball a little bit away from the Beeston player's stick and quite easily picked off by a defender. But a moment, deep penetration, chance for something. A lot of Beeston players on the hunt for the possession of the ball, which is a good sign. So he's using the sideline very nicely.
They were using the full width of the pitch in the first half, and that's a little a friendly hug.
I thought there was a foot earlier on in that they got away with, but so here we go. How do you get past the guy here?
Griffiths passes around, looks to receive the give and go. Real challenge from Beeston to retain possession, and if it's lost, win it back as quickly as possible. Into the circle, it's a Beeston free hit though, we'll be going back outside the circle.
Looking for some kind of an upgrade here to Beeston to get a corner or miss. An attempted reverse stick cross didn't come off.
Was that a reverse stick then or not? I didn't see the...
I think he got under the ball and it lifted a bit. And,
so danger rather than technical. Okay.
So here we go again with Surbiton. Beeston making it a bit tougher for them to actually get out from the back. Again, they've worked that very nicely, that clever outletting that they do down the flanks.
Now look how many Beeston players are in your picture, and the ball has still made its way briefly into the circle. And that coming again off Rob Farrington. He's not had the best a couple of minutes, has he?
No, that's right. Now this is where Beeston need to be careful and not rush to a situation where Surbiton suddenly get the ball back. They need more time with it in order to try to design some kind of a way forward.
So there's some space to work in.
There is. Surbiton got the Lone Ranger up front trying to break things down, but nicely set up with the midfield behind.
The mopping up work was brilliant.
It's very good.
And goal scorer Ben Boone involved in this one. I think it's just been... didn't receive the ball anyway. That's probably the best way to phrase that. Play breaks down again. Beeston have a free hit.
Yeah, they don't take long, do they? Oh, that's really a very silly restart. But with the pressure that you're under these circumstances, that's the last thing you need.
Just importantly, taking the ball over the line, so any foot to instant becomes a penalty corner. Fire towards goal, turned in, and then punched away.
It's a bit of a golden rule, really. If you've got a restart, you must make that work, and it shouldn't just be a turnover. That's really careless.
Here's Furlong.
His rogue shirt.
Yes, definitely not Royce.
He's closing down a bit. He's got too much space to work in there.
Ball bouncing in the circle. And that's an important save from Simon Hudgman. I had to watch it. It wasn't the fastest of shots, but he had to steady himself and make sure he was down to meet it.
He did. Nicely hit on the turn, but the power wasn't quite there. But still with Surbiton.
These sweep the ball away, and it's going to come back again, presumably with interest on the away side.
It's very scrambly defence from Beeston at the moment. It's Surbiton's quality here. Every single time you see at least 5-6 passes before they get to a situation where they turn the ball over. Lots of beautiful transfer, nicely fed out to the right wing.
Precision movement into the circle. It's swept towards goal and turned in for number 3.
Well, we've been watching that for the last 5 minutes, that build-up, patient build-up from Surbiton, prepared to try things which haven't come off. And then, of course, we saw the quality of that transfer from the left side to the right side here. Beautifully fed into the D. Textbook finish, really. Picked it up wide.
And it's David Goodfield, number 19, who looks to have made the impact.
Yes, all the energy with Surbiton now, I'm afraid. It's but they don't half apply the pressure. You can see every single Beeston receiving player is under pressure from a Surbiton player, or two, as the case is there. Was it 3-0 at Wimbledon the other week, Andy, and there was a bit of a comeback to 3-2, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Yeah, so whether there's a...
That was 3-0 before half-time, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah, that's right. So whether there's a bit of a fight back here, I don't know, but...
It's a tricky one because it hasn't been a terrible performance from Beeston, but
no.
It's been a match where mistakes have been punished. And
yes, that's true. That's exactly what's happened. And I think this is what you see with Surbiton. The times I've watched them, they're prepared to be patient and let things happen like you would expect to see, but then, as you say, they punish the mistakes when they occur. And they're always ready for opportunities. A nice little bit of interplay there in a tight area, but they've still got the ball.
Beeston's defence parting like the Red Sea for a moment.
Yes.
Everyone seemed to just disappear away and give almost a route to goal. Ball bouncing around in the circle.
Yeah, finally it's found its way onto a Surbiton foot, so Beeston have the chance to get away. I suppose looking at 45 minutes and 3-0 in the context of some of the scores lines that Surbiton have had is not too bad, but it'd be nice to see Beeston score.
Well, if you want to have a look at the other results that Surbiton have put down in the record books this season so far. So you can see University of Exeter was a 7-0 win, then a 6-1 against East Grinstead, 9 against Brooklands, 3-0 against University of Durham, 3-2 against Oxford, and just the 10 goals, 6-4
against Holcombe.
Yeah. So all comers are getting swept aside.
Yeah, they're prolific, and I think it's this attention to detail in their build-up that's the key, really. They have got quality forwards, but they do find their way into the D in control of the ball, and it gives them opportunities for shots and to win corners. And of course, this pressing that they're doing now is... Beeston have got out of that one pretty well, but it's very good from Surbiton, and there's somebody stepping in again. Connections made, good elimination skills one-on-one.
From a defender's point of view, you don't have to be chasing the ball all the time. You can anticipate where it's gone, and that was what happened there with the big
that's right.
Onto the baseline and into
Dangerous
the circle,
again.
swept back, kicked away and over. I think it may have carried over the baseline before Simon Richmond made a connection with it, otherwise it would have been a penalty corner.
That's right, yeah.
So it's a long, another one. By that I mean a free hit this time.
But each one of the Surbiton players seems to have the same high standard of basics. We've only seen 2 or 3 sort of unforced errors from them. We saw those couple in the corner towards half-time, but this is really, they're out of range all of the time. It's hard to press them. They're even able to take the stick off the ball and look. Little aerial, useful aerial there.
Nicely into the corner.
And they've still got it.
And that is penalty corner number 4.
Yes, that was a purposeful aerial, very well taken, because it wasn't the easiest when it landed, and it's just an easy little drop onto a foot. So there's the aerial, bounces just outside the D, nicely controlled, and then under the foot of the Surbiton player and onto James Hunt's feet.
So who's around the edge? We can see James Gall, one of the Olympians from Tokyo.
Yes, yeah, former Beeston player. Another one.
This time we do see Luke Taylor. And also Jamie Golden is there this time as well.
Yeah. And this is where you know, when you're looking at sort of this phase of the game, running in towards with a quarter left to go after this. This is where you don't want that scoreline to run away, and I think this is what Surbiton are good at. They've worn down the resistance that Beeston have, and they cannot. Beeston have got to stay strong to keep this scoreline low, or as low as it is. If you call 3-0 low, it's still a good result for Surbiton.
In the context of those other results, this is still quite modest.
Yes, that's right. Here we go.
So. No, it's a different one. It has been turned in, a different routine to what we were expecting, and I think that was the difference.
Clever move to the second castle, and right inside the post. Accurate flick, so there's no risk of it not being on target, and in it goes for the fourth.
Well, let's see who got the final touch on this one. We were drawn towards the left-hand side of the circle, and that's a real powerful whip of the ball. I think, is that a second for Jamie Golden? Because he was the player that was on that castle, but I can't be too sure.
Yes, I think that might be who it was. But they're just, Surbiton, they just chip away at you, don't they? Pick a goal here, a goal there, and before you know it, it's the scoreline's becoming dangerously large.
Beeston into the circle, it has been turned towards
Save.
goal, and again, marvellous work in the Surbiton goal from Ore Ogunlana. And he's been underworked in this game.
Yes, he has. Yeah,
sharp. We've seen some actually very good goalkeeping performances from visiting teams in recent weeks.
Well, I think he's played well. I mean, he had 2 or 3 things to do in the first half, in a dangerous phase of a game where things can, you know, the layout of the game can change in an early part of the game, and he made 2 good saves, 2 very good closing down saves that could have easily resulted in goals. Sharpness and concentration, despite the fact that he's not fully involved. And this is the fear that you have, really, that it starts to look a little bit easy for Surbiton. You know, you're 4-0 down. How do you keep your standards high? But they always knew from the start it was going to be a tough game, and that it was potentially a builder for the more winnable games later on.
Just occurred to me, we've not looked at the fixtures. We were going to look at the fixtures over half time, but we've not done that.
Deep outlet there to Surbiton player that allows them the transfer to the sharper part of the D. Relatively well defended by Beeston there. But Surbiton are beginning to dictate the play. They can use all the space and time that there is.
Attempted interception just enough to confuse.
Yeah, well, they'll be pretty cross with that because it was a poor effort to find the guy that would be wide right, Surbiton forward. But they've got it again, so.
This is the time where it's difficult for some teams' heads would go down.
Yes.
So, as a coach, how do you motivate your team for the final quarter?
Well, I think it's the prep beforehand, the reality of the situation. I'm sure they spoke about how tough it was going to be. Not in any way wanting to be sort of defeated from the start, but I think you know, when you look at those scores we've just looked at, Andy, it was always going to be difficult. But there are other games for Beeston, and a bit of a different battle, and this is a real good prep for it.
Next break coming up in around 60 seconds time. Beeston 0, Surbiton 4. We'll also bring you confirmation of the goal score as soon as we've received it. We anticipate that it is the second goal of the game for number 10, Jamie Golden, but we'll get that official as soon as we can.
I think if we had...
that's just behind the player who was on the spot.
Well, that's the first time I've seen the 2 Surbiton forwards in slightly the wrong place. They were both beyond the penalty spot, and they could have done with one popping out a little bit, and that would have been a ball to an open receiving player. I was just thinking, really, Andy, if you were to work the possession stats out on this, I'm thinking it would be quite heavy in favour of Surbiton.
Beeston, can they get the ball in the circle before the end of the quarter?
With Beeston.
It is in the circle. Shooting opportunity, and that is missed. So close.
Great position for Samapula, and
And what a way to end the quarter that would have been.
It would have been a great way to respond and show that you're still fighting and still in it, and unfortunately he's missed the target.
I wonder if we can actually see that back. That's probably worth, that's wonderful if we can see that back. It's a good way. I mean, there is still some fight there, and we just see the end of that replay. And you see the frustration on the back, number 10 on his back from Samapula, but you see the frustration in his body shape.
Yes, yeah. But you could see where Ori Ogunlana was in respect of Samapula. They're very close to him, so his speed off the line to close down that potential shot was rapid and may well have affected Sam's accuracy.
Well, do we have those fixtures to hand? Maybe we can do a little bit of on-air production meeting. Well, so I'll tell you what, Beeston's season so far, it was a defeat at University of Durham. It was the match against Oxted, which was that 3-1 win that managed to miss. I don't know if I'm sort of a lucky charm or an inverse
yes,
lucky charm.
I've only just thought about that.
2-2 Hampstead-Westminster draw, which we were talking about.
Yeah.
Brooklands was a 3-3.
Yes,
that was the 3-2 Wimbledon game, which was a defeat.
Yes.
And Old Georgians, which was also 4-0, as this game is now.
Yeah.
What next? Do Surbiton take the foot off the gas?
I suspect that would never happen under the coaching of Mark Pern. It's not his style at all. The ultimate winner when it comes to the game of hockey, and he was as an individual. And I can see him now. He's gesticulating towards his players in a way that tells me he's still not 100% happy with the way that they're playing. So he'll want more from them all the time.
And what are the words to Beeston?
I think, again, they've got to recognise the reality of the situation, but make sure that they use it as an opportunity to prepare for what they've got ahead, because they're going to have to try very hard to win their next 3 games. Holcombe away, Exeter University and East Grinstead are games that Beeston would like to think were winnable, but they'll only do it if they're playing their best hockey. So this is a great opportunity to practice.
Surbiton start the final quarter with an aerial ball. That's looking a little bit painful.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that was there was a slip there.
I think, yeah. But again, I think Surbiton won't be content with 4. I'm sure they'll be looking for more corners, more open play goals.
And that's broken for Beeston.
I think that's a fair decision by the umpire. That's the sort of thing, just a little bit too loose.
Although into the circle, steady defending and confident defending in the Surbiton defensive ranks.
You can see good examples of the differences in the quality of the units and the players. I mean, that escape by Beeston, the ball far too far off Eddie Harper's stick, easily looked at for as a repossession by Surbiton, and of course it ran away from him anyway, so it has to be much more clinical and good on the basics than that. The pressure, but
coming up
off, there has been one
there.
there.
Eddie Harper doing well, but possession for Beeston is measured in seconds.
It's it, literally, yes, that's right. It's and Eddie Harper looked like he'd found a foot, but obviously the
must say that's well done, Joe Paul, watching that, getting
good.
the stick in the right place to anticipate the ball into the circle.
Yeah, just inside the D. Could have easily been a corner if it had hit his foot. Again, here we go, this transfer, a man wide on the right, he very easily found, and of course that's a danger area, so...
Whistle blows.
And still the 3 forwards, you can see them quite clearly in the D, prepared to move, lead towards the ball, or rotate around.
Turnover though via the umpire's whistle. Just inviting your thoughts on player of the match. If you're watching along, you can send us your thoughts on player of the match if we're able to. We'll read a few of those messages out. You can find us on Twitter at @officialBHC. That's at @officialBHC. Look for Beeston Hockey Club and let us know your thoughts on player of the match. And also, Gus, you can start your
I've got
calculating. There's the ball into the circle, again kicked away calmly, watched and measured out of...
if you're going to cross a ball on the run, it has to go towards the far post, in other words, across the penalty spot. That was just very, very easy for Surbiton keeper.
Space for Surbiton to get the ball on the right-hand side. Goalkeeper's down.
Surbiton to it first again.
And that's been turned
dear.
in for the fifth. And that was very, very, very easy.
Yeah, a little lack of pace and pressure on that. It's far too easy. Rob Farrington.
Rob Farrington, number 4, and that was his... that's nice. As soon as you've scored, go off and continue your celebration being subbed off there.
Quite
now,
right.
I was saying it was easy, so
Yeah,
watch this. He just allowed to turn through the goalkeeper's legs. I'm not saying that's the fault of the goalkeeper, but there wasn't much in the way of a challenge from any of the other defenders.
No, Gareth Griffiths was trying to close him down, but didn't do that well enough. And then James Hunt was just in no man's land, really, and didn't put any pressure on. So the scoreline grows, and that's just what we were talking about. And this is how Surbiton get to their 6s and 7s. And they're good at it, and they do it week in, week out.
14 minutes to play as well, and as you said, they aren't going to let off.
No, and there they are again. And
there's a slide coming in from Tim Nurse,
yeah.
number 8, and the game is won, and the determination is still there.
Well, they're trying to expose that far right corner of the D. It's been very productive for them. Their slips, their winning of the corners, a lot of them have come from that part of the D. And Beeston are sort of letting them transfer the ball into that area very easily. Ball in the middle of the park, a bit better interplay. But whether or not this can be upgraded to any kind of possession in the D, I don't know. Still with Beeston.
I'm trying to rack my brains. I remember seeing the table earlier on. Would this put Surbiton's goal difference up to 41?
I think that's probably about right, yes. It's a hell of a tally in a top league of hockey, isn't it? It's
and also it's the first weekend in November.
Yes. Well, they've got their competitors in the league. In that top 6, game on game, there's 1 or 2 sides that can compete with them, but they are a bit head and shoulders above most at the moment. And they've got players missing. And Beeston haven't won a corner.
That's correct.
Despite the possession they have had, they haven't been able to manufacture a corner. That's a big aerial.
And it also extends Beeston's run without a clean sheet to 21 games.
Is that right? Yes. Much to do. And this is difficult now for Beeston. The amount of time that each Surbiton player has on the ball has grown because of the scoreline and the confidence. The difficulty in the way that they're getting. There again, it's going to be a potential corner.
Heads up suddenly, wasn't it, when the ball was played in towards the circle. It was well watched. Also,
great step in there. I mean, Sam Makula's got that ball's gone too far away from the stick. Rob, number 3, who's that?
That's Luke Taylor.
Luke Taylor stepped in easily. Of course, it's Luke Taylor, number 3. We've seen him too many times already.
By the way, I've got it wrong. It was the number of goals scored. It goes from 36 to 41.
Right.
Goal difference goes from 28 to 33.
Still big numbers, aren't they, in the context of the number of games played?
And with 11 minutes to play, we can say with confidence that they'll be returning back to the top of the table.
That's right, yeah. And a game in hand, is that right? I think they've...
yes, that's right.
Here it is again. That's the same position, and their intention, you can see their intention is instant to either dribble that ball into that zone of the D or push it and hit it straight in with a view to getting a corner. And it's been really successful, and they'll try and do it again here, I'm sure.
Attempted aerial doesn't work, although fortune favours the brave, and Beeston continue to push. This could be very promising.
Is that has gone in? Yes,
and that
Sam Makula on a breakaway has jabbed that under the keeper.
I must say that's an odd goal, because I was pausing expecting something else to happen.
Yeah.
Let's watch that again, and we can actually talk you through it a little bit easier. So you can see the run of a Pooler draws the goalkeeper out.
Everybody
quickly,
at full stretch,
and just the slightest of touches which takes it around him, and he celebrates, and he's done well.
Yeah.
His goal scoring form continues, and I'm not saying that we're going to see the biggest comeback since Lazarus here, but that's nice to have on the board.
I definitely agree. I think in the context of where each team is, that sort of thing and the willingness to fight back and get a goal is good. And Sam Pooler keeps his scoring going as well.
It also feels like, given that the restart, Beeston have won the ball back, someone's lit a fire underneath them. They're suddenly come alive. Ball fired in, but that's not a good trap. Look at the determination suddenly from Beeston, but Surbiton
the
break
space
quickly. There's movement to the left of the goal. Well watched under pressure, and the ball comes away. It looks like we're going to have a remarkably exciting final 10 minutes to play.
Yeah, just who knows, there might be another goal for Beeston, and I'll try to get it to look like a closer scoreline and feed off that for these next 3 games that we've talked about. This is better.
Eddie Harper,
that's hit a foot, I think. And it's a good example here, Andy, of 2 sides in different phases of their development. Surbiton, they're all experienced, quality players. Beeston very much in a building phase with a lot of youngsters learning their trade. Not least the captain, who's a youngster. And sooner or later, everybody ends up in that phase, and it can look like a mismatch, but the intention of Beeston is to move up to where Surbiton are eventually.
Couple of blows on the whistle there. I was trying to work out whether the umpire was signalling there was danger or whether he was just scratching his shoulder.
Yeah.
Trying to work out what the reasoning was. The ball bouncing to the circle. Penalty corner, Beeston.
Yeah, that's the first corner. That's looks like it was. I think that was played onto a foot.
So let's have a look at it again. Here's the restart, and it just shows you how quickly it went from being a restart into the circle, and we ended up with a penalty corner. Moving it around.
The cross.
Bounced a couple of times. Now that's miscontrol which led to that, possibly.
Possible foot. It was bouncing around a bit, but good opportunity for Beeston to close the scoreline if they can get this right. And Kai Aishin is there, isn't he?
Yes, he's the likeliest. If I can just check my notes. He's scored 3 penalty corners already this season, and this is his opportunity to go level again in the scoring chance for Sam Pooler if he gets the opportunity. To the left of the circle is Ben Collinson, so those are the 2 likeliest to make the connection. Who's gone over to inject?
James Hunt, an injection. And these are the moments that you try to get out of games like this. Here we go.
That's bouncing, and that's a repeat.
Oh.
No? Okay.
Well, for all the world, like the umpire signalled another corner. Oh dear, there's lots of space there.
Huge amount of space. Ben Boone has already scored 1, plays the ball across the face of goal, and that's being kept out.
Just went across at an awkward height, but nevertheless there was a Surbiton forward there. Just didn't get on the end of the cross. That's a pity that the number 1 runner for Surbiton at that corner, right in front of Kai Aishin, he found it difficult to get it round him in any way at all. But, you know, we talked about this energy still there from Beeston, isn't it? And I'm pleased to see that.
Also, there's a little bit of hoodoo is probably too strong a word, but there's a real sign over Beeston from Surbiton over the last couple of seasons.
Yes,
and it just feels important to have scored. As I said at the start of the game, it's not gone too well in the recent seasons.
No, it hasn't, no.
As popping up, it's been presented in the circle, shooting opportunity. Wide of the goal. It seemed easier to score.
I thought that was, yes, that's right. Yeah, I thought that was Sir Simon Hujwan's save, but he missed his target. So, no, I think that development of Surbiton. I remember back in 2012, Beeston actually played them in the Premier League finals and ran out as a 5-0 win for Beeston. And it's since that time that Surbiton
corner. And Samapula adding another feather in his cap for has been another standout to performance for him. I've enjoyed watching him over the last couple of seasons. But,
yes, he's come on leaps and bounds in the last 2 or 3 years. And
by the way, this is the second replay in a row for Beeston where we've seen the movement from a restart, ending up with a penalty corner, and that's Luke Taylor who's caused the
clunking
offence.
into Samapula and given the offence. Yeah. So
lingering around the edge of the circle, a pat on the back. Not that that's giving you any clue as to what's going to happen, but Kai Aikinger.
That's right.
He's
just sending out a little message that's...
put ball in there. Also, Samapula is there, and 24 Ben Collinson also is there as well. So, likeliest, again, we'll say likeliest, it could be Kai Aikinger or it could be Ben Collinson, but also Samapula is there. So if there's a routine, if there's something clever on the cards, I've seen quite a few slip penalty corner routines over the course of the last few weeks. I've seen a huge amount of
yes, that's right.
couple of weeks.
Here we go.
There's the routine. It's been punched towards goal, and that's a brilliant save off the glove, and that's been turned in for a second for Beeston.
That's a classic Henry Croft finish. Surbiton not entirely happy with that, but the final shot wasn't too much of an issue, I don't think.
Let's see that again, because I think there's a good play all round. Oh,
I think he's going to disallow that. Yeah.
Again, I'm what's the phrase?
First shot was too high. They're saying, look there. It was well above backboard. It was a great finish from Henry Croft. It's a shame that that's not worked out, but
yes, because you can. The playing the ball is I forgot the name of the movement when you sweep the ball with a stick.
The swing and a miss bit.
No. So from a penalty corner, you've got a drag flick.
Oh, the drag flick. Yes. Sorry.
That can go that can go above the backboard, but a shot needs to be the height of the backboard.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's what we've seen. I mean, that was a nice routine. We've seen Beeston put the ball in the net again. We also heard the crowd not being fully appreciative.
No.
We've got the benefit of a
partisan crowd. But here we go again. This same little part of the pitch that Surbiton have exploited so well today. But like we said, Andy, the fight factor is a real plus. And if you can put this kind of battling into a game that is more winnable, then you can give yourself an edge.
Here's Farrington carrying the ball towards the circle. That's been turned towards goal, and that's rolled behind.
It has again. That looked like a good opportunity, which Surbiton have missed. But I do think we are looking at two sides at completely different stages of their development as teams, and there are lots of positives for Beeston to work on.
Stick on stick as Henry Croft plays the ball into the circle. Shooting opportunity. Kicked away calmly by the goalkeeper.
He's had a good game today. I think David Goodfield has played very well for Surbiton today.
He scored the third goal as well. Oh, by the way, yes, who is your standout player who's playing?
So I think David Goodfield's played very well today. We have given it to keepers in recent weeks, haven't we? So nice for an outfield player to get it.
I think, yes, with 90 seconds to go, we're about to see the first card. And that looks like a yellow from this distance. There's a green one. I think it was just the sunlight being played onto it. Sometimes we don't get very long at all to see the card.
We don't.
So umpires who are watching, if you're coming on for BTV, make sure you give a nice display of the card, please. Thank you very much.
Bigger
from
cards.
Your friends at BTV. Not thinking like the Price is Right style cards. We just want to see it for a little bit longer.
Well, I think Beeston have subdued some of Surbiton's play in phases of the game. Surbiton's quality, particularly with finishing and corners, has come out. Beeston have had their moments, and they've got the goal from Samapula, which is nice. So you can class that as a positive as well, because he keeps the scoring going. Henry Croft nearly got a goal, but
it's a win within a loss, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, you've got to look for those kind of positives in this kind of a situation, and the fight is to get into that top 6 for Beeston with wins in the next 3 games if they can. Otherwise, they're going to be fighting for the relegation half of the league. Space again.
And we were saying about how close and how tight this Surbiton side is, never giving up. They were still playing.
They were
until the very, very final second, pushing to score restore their 5-goal lead. As it finishes, Beeston 1, Surbiton 5. It was close to being a second goal for Henry Croft, which of course disallowed, but the scoring sequence was 5 for Surbiton, Ben Boone, 2 from Jamie Golden, David Goodfield, Rob Farrington, and we'll have that confirmed as a second for Jamie Golden, and Samapula with a remarkable finish.
Yes, nice little stretch reach finish, put it past the goalkeeper. No goals for Luke Taylor. He'll be disappointed, I would imagine. Indeed,
I think he's still going to be clear of the scoring charts with 13 on the board. And but that said, it's been a clinical performance from Surbiton today. Beeston did challenge, but not for long enough. And as I said, spells of possession is measured in seconds for Beeston.
It is definitely, yes, yeah.
What next for Beeston and BTV? You were saying a few moments ago, next time the men are playing.
Yes, they're at Holcombe, away next week.
And so that means it's the turn of the women on to BTV. That means it's a Saturday game here at Nottingham Hockey Centre. And we visit, the visitors up from Bristol. Clifton Robinsons are the visitors in the Women's Premier Division next Saturday. That's the 13th of November. It's been a good day. And it's a good one to watch again, because there's a lot of good things to take out of the game. From many different angles, good goalkeeping, good possession, and good use of the ball.
Good to watch a video back for any coach on that, just to show the precision of the passing and the quality of the basics.
As you can see the clouds moving behind the players and officials, it's time to wrap up from another edition of BTV. Final score here, Beeston 1, Surbiton 5. It's good afternoon to you. See you later.
All that opening goal, that's great stuff, but you've still got a lot of work to do to get anywhere near a win in a Premier League game.
Things have opened up for Beeston on halfway.
Rodney Gleeson at his best, pace.
Puts the ball into the circle, chance, it's popped up. And that's Henry Croft who puts that one into space. Long corner is the call.
It's fitness, so they just need to stay focused and keep working hard for the whole 70 minutes. It's
Middleton, 36, using the full area of the field. That's been turned towards goal and it's gone in. No. Now, I did see the ball cross the line.
That was slightly the wrong choice. I think could have been better kept on the right-hand side, but probably chose to feed it to the top of the D.
I think there's advantage being played. And that's being turned in for the opening goal. And straight from one end of the field to the other.
Absolutely. I mean, how many seconds was that? We're looking at probably just fallen to Surbiton. Beeston just got a little bit sloppy in their outletting, particularly through the middle of the field, and it's fallen straight
into the circle. Chance, and it's being turned in for the second. And sometimes it can look as easy as that.
Actually, not that helpful sometimes.
Nice pass out to the left-hand side where Richard Alexander finds himself. He's held up, and the ball coming off that was a Surbiton foot, we just restarted on. Here's an opportunity into the circle, play towards goal.
Oh my goodness.
And that's some way wide, but look at the appeal, huge appeal from we prepared a moment ago, and as soon as the penalty corner was over, let's take everything off. So just that moment again, we're getting the preparation again.
Could almost do with 2 keepers at these kind of corners.
There is the little shuffle. That's been padded away,
well
and
saved.
Then really well watched. Simon Hudgman waited for it.
Bit central.
His mystery man, number 14, Gareth Furlong, likeliest to field this.
Need to defend this. 2 Castles, could go to either, but it's the first Castle.
It is Furlong, and he's hit the crossbar.
The crossbar, yeah.
Directly, didn't take a touch.
Could go to either, but it's the first Castle.
It is Furlong, and he's hit the crossbar.
The crossbar, yeah.
Directly, didn't take a touch.
Gets to a situation where they turn the ball over. Lots of beautiful transfer, nicely fed out to the right wing.
Precision movement into the circle. It's swept towards goal and turned in for number 3.
Well, we've been watching that for the last 5 minutes. That build-up, patient build-up from Surbiton, prepared to try things.
No, it's a different one. It has been turned in,
castle,
a different routine to what we were expecting, and I think that was the difference.
Clever move to the second castle and right inside the post. Accurate flick, so there's no risk of it not being.
Side, goalkeeper's down.
Surbiton to it first again.
And that's been turned in for the fifth. And that was very, very, very easy.
Yeah, a little lack of pace and pressure on that. It's far too easy. Rob Farrington.
Rob Farrington, number 4, and that was his doesn't work.
Yeah.
Although fortune favours the brave, and Beeston continue to push. This could be
this
very
is a bit
promising.
of space. Is that
been
has gone
turned
in?
in?
Yes.
And that
Samapula on a breakaway has jabbed that under the keeper.
I must say that's an odd goal, because I was
Score that opening goal. That's great stuff, but you've still got a lot of work to do to get anywhere near a win in a